ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम गम गणपते नमः। श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गम गणपते वरवरद सर्वजनमे वशमाने स्वाहा। ओम सर्वमंगलमांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्यत्र्यंबके देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु महालक्ष्मीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय श्री राधा कृष्णाय नमो नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय श्री हनुमते नमः। Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 8th of September 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagavan residing in the heart of every single being. We are continuing to examine the liberated state, the Mukta state. Please remember, just a quick points to keep in mind as we are taking this journey further. Mukta means one who has reached by krupa, by grace, a state of liberated living in the waking, dream and deep sleep state. Right? This is the concept. We want to be very clear about the ideas, the concepts and the terminology, and then of course in our daily lives take steps as much as we can to reach this higher state of consciousness. So it's a matter of taking a journey, a sequential hour to hour, day by day journey to open that dimension, to ask God to open that dimension into a completely liberated state. Give me just one moment. So, this is not merely theory. There are lots of ideas and concepts and technical language is there, which we'll try to really define carefully. But we want to make sure in the exposition that is being presented here that the concept is clear. Concepts are clear. That's our very first step. Because we are transitioning into this border. Our goal in the current series is to really look at that border between Navadha Bhakti and Prem Lakshana Bhakti, 10th Bhakti. The transition from a Bhakta who is doing sadhana into a state of realization beyond sadhana, where it is a liberated, continuous liberation. It doesn't mean that the 9 forms of bhakti are not done in the liberated state. That's not what that means. Some people have a misunderstanding about this also, that if actually a liberated state, Jivan Mukta sthiti, if it comes about, does it mean now one is just not doing any sadhana? In one sense, there is no more sadhana left to be done. In one sense. In another sense, the same 9 forms of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, etc., those 9 forms are continued as Siddha Bhakti. But at the highest level of realization, in addition to the usual 9 forms of devotion in the Mukta state, every experience that the Mukta has is considered to be divine. It's not simply considered to be divine. It is Divya. Every anubhav, every second of every experience in every situation while awake, transitioning into Swapna Avastha and Sushupti Avastha, which we will talk about later, it is Divyam. Please remember this word, Divyam, D-I-V-Y-A-M, Divyam. Divyam means that effulgence of divinity, effulgence of Brahman effulgence. The recognition, realization, constant aliveness in super consciousness, God consciousness. तीन ही अवस्था में, जागृत, स्वप्न and सुषुप्ति. Right now, our goal is just to bring our mind into the concept. This is a very advanced point. Most people don't talk about this. Even these different commentators and all that online, they do talk to some extent, but it's a very tricky subject to try to describe, and to even understand it's very difficult. So we want to really, really go very slow with it, right? I hope this is clear so far. If you have questions, you may, if you want to unmute, you can ask now, or you can ask later if you want. It's absolutely fine. But make notes also. It's the most extraordinary journey in life to reach this point. So liberation, there's 3 points I want to mention about the Jivan Mukta state. Liberation is not escape from life, but freedom from the false self. Sachin says, we want to reach liberation. Guru Krupa, Bhagwan ki Krupa, Radhika ji ki Krupa, all the bhajan, kirtan, assuming that is going on. We are talking about now that assuming 9 forms of bhakti, we are just doing that. I mean, that's going on. And there's mumukshutvam, there's manan chintan, shravan manan nididhasanam, all this is going on. There is no negative emotion left towards anybody, assuming that. None. No thinking that is negative, no feeling that is negative, definitely not finding fault with anybody. Even though everybody has different deficiencies, you recognize it, leave it alone, move on. There is one singular concern. Singular. And Sachin is telling Sachin's mind only this point. One singular concern. मुक्त स्थिति में जाना है, बस दूसरी बात नहीं, दूसरी बात ही नहीं, मुक्त स्थिति में ही जाना है. I want to मुक्त स्थिति माच जो in Gujarati we would say. Je thai, whatever may happen in life, anything may happen in life, let it happen. It's not going to, we will not allow anyone, anything, any situation to deflect the journey into the mukta state. Who is ready for that? निष्कुड़ानंद स्वामी जी कहते हैं, भगवान स्वामीनारायण के बहुत बड़े संत हो गए. खोली खोली ने खोलियू खरा खप वाड़ा नी खोटे रे. Cup, this word cup means clear intention and drive to reach the highest of realization. किसके पास है? How long does it remain? Even if we say we have that, we may experience it for even 10 seconds. Even that's a big thing. And then something will come and it will blow it out. बहुत बड़ी बात है. It's extraordinary. So the liberated living, it is not an escape from our regular life. Not at all. The Bhagavad Gita never teaches any of us to escape from our life. The definition of sannyasa is not to run away somewhere. Yeah, those are different sadhanas and that's not running away. वो एक diksha की बात है, वो एक अलग बात है. I don't want to discuss that right now. But the Bhagavad Gita doesn't talk about putting out white clothes and tilaks and different changing your name. Does it say anything like that anywhere? No. It doesn't say anything like that. It talks about liberation exactly where you are. You may be doing those sadhanas. That's a different subject. Liberation is not an escape. And if spirituality, so-called spirituality, becomes an escape, it is not spirituality. Liberation or mukta sthiti kya hai? It is freedom from the false self. What is that false self? Somebody says, Sachin, you're a most idiotic person. Koi baat nahi. Tulya ninda astu tirmauni. Can I hear that? Can that be heard with absolute steadiness? What if somebody spits on us? What will be the reaction? 10 people are surrounding us. Each person says 10 negative comments about us. हमारी क्या स्थिति हो जाती है? Saying is one thing. मुक्त स्थिति में तो ऐसी स्थिति है there could be all kinds of criticism and all kinds of praise. The mukta is not affected by any of it. There can be all kinds of destruction and there can be all kinds of vaibhav. Mukta is not affected by any of it. Sounds very nice to say. I like to, Sachin is very, interested in talking about these things. But it's not just concepts and ideas. We need to stay with concepts and ideas without any doubt. Without any doubt. It is very exciting. It is very exciting and very interesting to talk about these things. I'm just sharing with you my own experience. I love to talk about these things. The ahankar. It's enjoyable to talk about. It's like our mind loves these ideas, especially my mind, this mind. But that doesn't mean that the realization is there. ये सत्य बात, इस पर ध्यान रखना चाहिए. I have to put my attention, this mind has to put attention on this. अनुभव और स्थिति की बात अलग है. It has nothing to do with just language. Language is necessary. Expositions are necessary. Manan Chintan is necessary. स्थिति की बात बहुत अलग है. एषा ब्राह्मी स्थिति पार्थ. Can you just imagine how difficult that is? Some things change a little bit here and there in our regular flow of life and we get quite a bit agitated and disturbed. Even the slight disturbance is a realization, is a recognition that we are not in the mukta state. Even the slight disturbance. Vichar kijiye. It is freedom from the false self. The I that says, I am Sachin. Sachin is there. That is a name only. That's not who you are. That is a name given by somebody. In this case, the mother of this body, she liked that name, so she gave this name. Is that me? The first thing to realize about this false self, that is just an identifier. It is used for identification. Fine. But we have resonated with that to such an extent that has to change into bhakti. That the mukta is recognizing that this is the name of the body. That's all it is. The memories we have, the feelings we have, the thoughts we have, none of that is who we are. This is what Vedanta teaches us. Vedanta is teaching us clearly what we are not and what we are. Thoughts, emotions, memories, desire. All four of these is not who we are. We are different from that. Completely different from that. So this is part of the false self. The TEMDE, not the energy necessarily. The energy is part of the Atman or Shakti of the Atman. But these are just waves only. Look at our thoughts. They come and go, come and go, come and go. Emotions fluctuate. Is that who we are? We are not that. They are our experience. They need to be balanced. They need to be purified. They need to be synchronized. Yes, we talk about it in our other programs. Yes, but that's not who I am. And that realization that I am not the thoughts, emotions, memories, and desires, that's not me. That realization opens at that border point between Navda Bhakti and Prem Lakshana Bhakti. It's a realization, ek anubhav hai iska. It is the beginning of Atma Darshan. Atma Darshan, it's not describable. It is the beginning of that extraordinary liberated state where emotions and feelings and our memory structure are no longer impeding us. They're not causing impediments. We are not rolling around inside there. This is why humanity suffers. Because we're rolling around inside that structure. So many emotions come and go, come and go, come and go, come and go. Emotions and thoughts are there. Our internal activity is there. But when 9 forms of devotion increase, all of our emotions, all of our buddhi shakti, everything, it begins to resonate, sparkling with the vibration of the bhajans, kirtana, of the extraordinary teachings. It begins to vibrate with that. That is what yesterday we were talking about, Nada Brahma. That is called Nada Brahma. Nada Brahma is the internal vibration, internal vritti. It is a spandan and vritti. Spandan means vibration. Huh? This is a Sanskrit word, spandan. Every emotion carries energy. Every emotion carries vibration. Emotion is a type of vibration. It is a vibration, in fact. It is called spandan. So the emotions, they are vibrating with Navdha Bhakti. It's going to take some time. It's not that we can just wake up one day and say, I'm just going to be jumping into Navdha Bhakti or isme hi rehna. Aisa nahi hota. It doesn't work that way. Your mind is not prepared for that. Our antakaran has to be prepared for that. Yes, there's a question. Go ahead, please. So there's a question, and thank you for the question. The question is about karma. As long as we are carrying all kinds of karmas, we have to carry our karmas, and we have to clear our karmas. How can we reach the mukta state? That is correct. The karmas have to be cleared. But the storehouse of karma is called sanchit karma. It is a massive storehouse from millions of lifetimes. How are we going to clear that? So what we can do is live a life of dharma, the right kind of life right now. But this entire storehouse of karma, that has to be taken care of only by the krupa of Bhagwan. He'll wipe it out. All of it. How does it get wiped out? When we are 100% from inside at the feet of God. Sharanam. Sri Krishna Sharanam. I am yours. And the whatever future is going to be, prarabdha, isko prarabdha karma kehte. That is your will. Which is greater, Bhagwan or all these karmas? Karma ka koi force nahi hai in comparison to Paramatma. Bhagwan, when we forget God, then we are caught inside the cycle of karma. When we do not forget Paramatma and leave everything to Him, there is no force of, whatever the force of karma may be, that is considered to be Bhagavad Ichha, not karma. I know this sounds, you may not have heard this way before, but in particularly those who are in the path of upasana and bhakti, this is why bhakti is considered to be the most straightforward path, because of this reason. The reason is very straightforward, that the will of God, Bhagavat Ichha, it surpasses all karmas. All karmas. It doesn't matter what the karmas are. They could be of any kind. The key is the quality of the connection with Paramatma. Is it 100%? I am 100% yours. Bas. And then there's no fallback from that. When a bhakta reaches that point, this is the whole point, the freedom from the false self. The false ahankar is left aside. That main tera hu bas. That is Swarup Nishta, Bhagavad Nishta. Or isme fir, then there is no disconnection. Then all 9 forms of devotion continue, not even as sadhana anymore. They are just continuing in love. And by the grace of God, there's no impact of any karma. Impossible. It dissolves right away. The entire millions of lifetimes of karmas get shattered within a fraction of a second. By the Krupa Kataksh, isko kehte hai, Krupa Kataksh. It's a divine power of God. He says, okay, take it out. It's like a debt. Somebody who has millions of dollars of debt and the person we owe to. And the person says, you know what, you're mine. I'll take care of it. You don't owe anything. आ जाओ, मेरे पास आ जाओ. Somebody owes Bill Gates $1 million. Bill Gates said, कोई बात नहीं, let it go. You come to me, I'll put 10 million in your account. You forget about that million. ये बात है. Is it possible? Of course. Why not? All you need is one mala. Nothing else. Bhagwan ka naam. Bhagwan ka naam. Mala is needed. That's a way to take the name. And 100% turnover of the antakarana at the feet of Paramatma. Man, buddhi, chit, ahankar ka samarpan. Samarpit bhav. This is what we don't do, right? We meaning humanity. We don't know how to do it also. But the moment this is turned over 100%, at that moment, every karma is obliterated. At that moment. And if it's not turned over, then the karma cycle is going to continue because the ahankar wants something else, wants this, wants that. It just goes on. Then it has to suffer. It is an internal bond. It is called Sharanagati. Sharanam. This word Sharanam. Sharanam means shelter. Taking the 100% shelter. Like a small 5-6-year-old child who is crying and, is taken 100% shelter of the mother and the father. It says, only you, nobody can protect me except you. I am yours, O Lord. This is the Christian idea also. This is the bhakti. This is the height of devotion. And it is an internal bhav. The difficulty in this is that the ego, the ahankar, the vasanas, and all this other mess that is inside of us, it is preventing us from doing this. Even if we want to do it, we don't want, it's difficult. It becomes extremely, how am I supposed to do that? And obviously, because it is the lack of taking 100% shelter. Take the shelter of the Lord. This is in the Bible also, this is written. It's every religion, every dualistic religion. Islam is dualistic, Judaism is dualistic, Christianity and all the bhakti sampradayas are dualistic. There's a great truth in this. The truth is to give the mind completely and the Shakti back to Paramatma. उन्होंने दिया है, उनको समर्पण की दीजिए. It's very difficult. What does God not have? भगवान के पास क्या नहीं है? हमारा मन. He has everything. By force he can take, but no. That's not going to work. It's not by force. We have freedom. We have freedom to turn our attention towards Paramatma. That is called Sanmukh. There's two words here. This is a Vaishnava terminology that is also used in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, but it is coming from the Vaishnava paths. It is called Sanmukh and Vimukh or Bahirmukh. The actual word is Bahirmukh and Bhagavat Sanmukh. Sanmukh means turning our attention towards Bhagavan. Our attention is externalized. This object is nice, this gulab jam is nice, this mountain is nice, this is good, this I like this, I don't like this. Isme ye sab puri jagrat avastha, it's all rolling around in that only. Yeah, no doubt, experience continues. But is our attention tuned to the presence of the Urdhva Moolam Madhasya? The Urdhva Moolam, chapter 15, first verse of the Gita. That's what Bhagavan Krishna is saying. You turn your attention to the root from which all experience comes. All of reality comes. That's what chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga is, that Parabrahman. So when we turn our attention, the process of turning the attention as a long process is Navadha Bhakti. But there's always that extraordinary exception, that the 9 forms of devotion can blossom completely when there is extraordinary mahima. It's called asadharan mahima, extraordinary mahima. My God, this is the Lord Bhagwan aise hai. So how can we forget? How is it possible? Is it impossible to forget who is with me? That's the difference. If in our wallet or if you're female, you have purses, you have $100 billion check, And you have, let's say you have deposited that, you'll never forget that is there, even if you go to anywhere in this world. मेरे साथ क्या मिल, किसी महिमा नहीं है इसका, कौन मिल गया है, क्या मिल गया है, we don't know. In Gujarati we say बालकना हाथમાં चिंतामणि. We say Bhagavad Gita, it's freely available, but you go to इस विषय भोग में कितना पैसा goes. Bhagavad Gita is freely available. Anybody has any value of that? You say, yeah, ठीक है, ये क्या है? This is foolishness, maha agnan. There is a Chintamani, that is God, Bhagwan, Swayam, in the form of words. Madhavani, Madharupam. But it has to do with the internal realization of its extraordinary reality. If you have $100 billion check, somebody won this Powerball lottery. 2 people won this Powerball. I just watched in the news today. I'm not talking about gambling and all that, but lottery. People are crazy about these lotteries, right? And as they get higher, they keep purchasing more and more. Why? Everybody wants to be free. But just imagine for a moment, you have $100 billion check. You don't know what it is. Even if you think of it as only for $10, I'm using this as an example because it's easy to understand. Mahima. Ki ye kya hai? We see the language of the Gita. We see the sthiti of the saints. But the only thing that is needed is to connect with it. Let's say we all have $100 billion in the bank account. We don't know about it. It's there. Our name is there. It's valid. Everything is there. We have forgotten that is, and we're working, $40, $50, $60,000 per year, maybe $100,000 per year. That is the poverty of the jiva. The jivatma is begging in this sansar, is a beggar. इस संसार में भिखारी बन गया है ये जीव, और कुछ नहीं. इसका there's no other word to use for that. भीख मांगता है इस संसार में as a foolish person rolling around in the mud. भगवान के पास जाना नहीं है. Then continue to Bhagwan. Then this thing about karma, continue to perform karma, go up and down, up and down. स्वर्ग में जाओ, नरक में जाओ, ये ब्रह्मांड में से निकल ही नहीं सकता. Impossible. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. It will rebirth upon rebirth upon rebirth upon rebirth. It's, but all that is needed is 100% turning of the attention to the Urdhva Moolam, towards Purushottama. That's it. 100, not 99%, not 99.99999, 100% tuning, thou art all. Love thy Lord with all thy heart and all thy mind and all thy soul. Matthew 37, the Bible. That's it. That's the greatest commandment. But it sounds nice. Sachin is speaking about it. Kya badi baat ki. Sounds very nice. Very, very. It's fine. It's correct. The understanding is correct. Because it's coming from time immemorial. There's no doubt. But to actually be in that is a different matter. And that is where the karmas get destroyed. We try to remove the karmas. There are some theories like that to try to, extinguish the karmas by doing good karma. Of course we have to do good karma. But there is a state, Shubha Shubha Parityagi. Bhaktiman me priyo nara. Bhagavad Gita says go beyond the good also, good and bad. That is the divine, that's the divinity. Good or bad is, you see, like when Bhagwan Ram has to shoot that Ravan, wo kya hai? He's not doing a pap karma or punya karma. It is divya karma. It is divya kriya. It's divine unbound action. So that all comes when we are tuning, the 100% tuning into the Paramatma, and then the Sharanagati, that I am yours, and through that there is no forgetting the Paramatma. Then again, there is no sadhana done through the ahankar. Sadhana is done without ahankar. And when sadhana is performed without any kind of ahankar, Bhagwan Swayam, the karma structure that is being held, it gets obliterated right away. It gets thoroughly obliterated. Sarvadharman parityajya mame kam sharanam braja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Very famous shloka of the Gita. That's the answer. That's what it is. He says, you come to me 100% and I will remove it all. You don't worry. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Whatever deficiency we have, all have inside, he'll remove it all. And then the activity is still the same activity, but it is liberated action. It is the mukta state. It is a liberated state. Most people don't get to that state. Why? Because they're spinning between vasanas and connection with Bhagwan. Between I want this and I want this and I want this and getting stuck here, they're just constantly getting torn apart. Pendulum effect, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the more that happens, that it means that one is not, it is not developed properly. The internal development hasn't happened yet. It is an unripened mango. You know, you've eaten the green colored unripened mango. You see, it's attached to the tree. It doesn't have sweetness. But it's in the formation process. We have to finish that formation. Or it's not a matter of, it can be done. It's not like how much time. It could happen in a few days. It could happen in a few months. It's not a question of time. Right? So it's a very beautiful point that the conglomeration of karmas, when many people subscribe to this notion, abhi ye janma mein itna progress ho gaya, next janma mein itna progress, that is not wrong. If we are wanting to maintain our entanglements in the material world is a bubble only. इसीलिए vairagya and jnana promote and harmonize us into unflinching bhakti. Even a glimpse, I'll put it to you this way, even a glimpse of undisturbed bhakti is extraordinary. अब अखंड स्थिति इसमें जो वो तो बात वो it is something mind blowing, we cannot imagine even, but that is possible for us. And this little bit of thinking is required, little bit of observation is required. This world process comes and goes. But mera samay, how am I using my time? What is of paramount relevance? Is the time being used for heightened contemplation and connection, and with lot of love and affection, and action with divine vision? The same action. But when one's vision enters into divinity through this internal connection, by listening to discourses, by going through the scriptures, and remember, it's your own understanding that's going to matter, not what Sachin is saying or anybody else. You cannot see the sun through somebody else's eyes. There's that beautiful verse in the Guru Stuti, Chaitanya Shashvatam Shantam Vyomatitam Niranjanam Nadabindu Kalatitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. How is it possible if five of us are standing in front of the Surya Narayan, and 4 people have their eyes closed, and the one person has their eyes open? The people with their eyes closed say, I want to see the sun through your eyes. Can you do it? The only thing that the person with the eyes open can do is to encourage these others to open their eyes. That's the whole point of Guru. Guru Tattva jo parampara mein itne parampara hai. What is it that they're trying to do? Vedantam Suryo. They're the sun that is up. They are living in that enlightenment. They're seeing the actual reality. All they're doing is encouraging all of us to open our eyes. Or in that opening, just see it this, the bhav inside, it becomes absolutely purified. हमारे emotion दिव्य बन जाते हैं. दिव्य emotion. क्या बात है? What is divya emotion? This is the point of going, why we go to mandir. Mandir mein why we are going there? So that our emotions first become purified, and then we go again and again, so that our emotions reach divinity. So that we see every single person in that mandir. And mandir may start with the mandir, then mandir is everywhere eventually. But start there. That's why we go to temples. Sanatan Sanskriti mein Rishiyon ne mandiron ki, why they made the temples? For this reason. Because they were already in Ishavasya Midam Sarvam, but they cannot tell people, just go into the, just wherever you are, God is. That's not going to happen. You need a place. So you start there. that each person inside remove that feeling which caste, color, creed, shape, this, that, छोड़ दो ये सब माइंड में से. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna, Shri Ram, Bhagwan ka naam. We always, when anybody going into, always there's that tradition of bowing down. Why? At least thank God that is there. That is to turn the ego over towards God and to see that Paramatma that is in the सिंहासन, वो जो सन्निधि में जो है भगवान, वो ही भगवान वे भक्तों में है. That is the first step in spirituality. And then eventually we'll get to that point as bhakti increases. You see a tree, you see a mountain, you see a bug, you see a cat, a dog, an elephant, a pandit, a great scholar, a fool, a person with a psychiatric problem, a diseased person, a very healthy person, anybody. You see the same Paramatma. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva shapake cha panditaha samadarshina. Bhagavan Krishna is clear on this point. We want to get to that. Now, there's a back door. You can just start with that. Then वहां से ही चालू करना है, वहां ही end करना. That is the topmost. We have a back door. There's always a one-step realization. That's the one-step realization. जो भी चल रहा है, भगवान is present everywhere. I am liberated. मैं मुक्त हूँ. But start with that. Start with that idea. Everything will automatically reset. Okay, we're already at 8:58. Let's stop here for now. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvadam Ganganapade Nama Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Tameva Mata Chapita Tameva Bandusha Saka Tameva Vidya Dravinam Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche स्वाहा दुर्गे दुर्गे रक्षिणी ठ स्वाहा श्री दुर्गार्पणमस्तु. ओम ह्रीं स्वाहा. ओम नमः शिवाय.